Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with an exciting update. This is my project level up update. I'm currently on level 4, and if you're new here, I believe everyone knows the rules, so I'm going to go through them very briefly. But if you're new here, this project was created by me last year, and it's basically a project that consists of using a palette at a time. And for each level, so you start at level 1, you have to use every shade once and hit 1 pan. For level 2, you have to use every shade twice and hit 2 pans, and so on. So for level 4, I had to hit 4 pans as well as use every single shadow 4 times. And I'm excited to get into where I am on a palette, if I was able to hit my goal or not. I've been working on this specific palette for 2 months now, so I'll get into it and show you where I was last month. But before I do so, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. Also, before jumping into the palette itself, I'm gonna mention as well that I have a playlist that I created with everyone else who is participating down below. So it's like a collaborative playlist that has been going since last year. So if you want to binge this project, you can find my playlist down below. And if you have joined this project on YouTube and you're not in the playlist, please let me know and I will add you to it. But like I said, I have been working on this specific palette for 2 months, and the palette that I'm working on is this one right here, which is the Child palette from Colourpop, The Mandalorian The Child. This is a beautiful palette. I absolutely love it. This right here is where it was. Let's show you the picture from the start as well as last month, so you can see the comparison. So as you can see, I had hit 1 pan at last update. So let me put up the picture where I was last month now. So that is the progress from last month. So I had to hit 3 more pans, and I had 1 eyeshadow in here that I hadn't used 4 times yet, which was the Force. But that, like I said, is where I was last month. Let me show you where I am today. So that's the overview, and you can see the comparison here. So let me talk through the palette. So the first shade in the palette is Pressure Cargo. I had hit pan on this one last month. That is the 1 pan that I had from before. So it took me 50 uses to hit pan on that one, but again, I haven't used it since. The second pan in the palette is actually my most recent pan, and that is in the shade Right Hand Mando. This is one that I wanted to focus on to hit pan on, and I had used it 4 times in the first month, and I used it an additional 14 times to hit pan on it for a total of 18. So it's hard to see the pan. I actually didn't even realize I hit pan on it first because it is more of a kind of silvery shadow, but you can definitely see the pan right there. And it's a small pan, but it's a pan nevertheless, and I'm very, very excited to have a pan on this one and hit my goal. So next to that we have the shade Just Like a Tatooine, which is the kind of brownish, more brown neutral transition shade in the palette. I have not used this one since last update. I used it 7 times in the first month, and yeah, again, I haven't used it since. Moving on to the second row, we have Sipping Soup, which is one of my favorite shadows in the palette just because of the shade. I love this kind of green. It is beautiful, and I really like it on me. You've seen it in a lot of videos this month, using a lot of this palette, and past month as well. But I love this one a lot, and I'm happy to say that this is another one that I hit pan on. I had used it 4 times in the first month, and I used it an additional 5 times to hit pan, for a total of 9. So that is the pan right there. Very excited to have that pan as well. Then let's move on to the middle shadow on the second row, which is Babyface. This is one that I had used 4 times in the first month, and I have again not used it since, but I had hit my goal on it previously since I had hit my 4 uses. Then, like I said, we have the Force, which is the one shadow that I had not hit my usage goal yet last month, but I had, because I had only used it once. I'm happy to say that I have used it 3 additional times in the past month for a total of 4, so that one has also hit this usage goal. This is a very easy shadow for me to reach for. I was just panning so many things that I got distracted, and I thought, oh, that's an easy one to throw into looks that I kind of just forgot about it, and that's why I didn't hit my 4 uses on it last month. But again, I knew I was going to be able to do so very easily, and again, I have. Then for the last row we have Little Frog, which is the first kind of matte with glitter in it. It's a beautiful shadow, but it's one of those sequin shadows which I know a lot of people don't like, but this one is fine. It is quite a crumbly shade, but it blends out quite nicely, and I think that's because it has those sparkles in it. And again, the glitter doesn't really show up on your eyes once you blend it out. But this one I had used 4 times last month and I have not used it again, so again I hit my goal on it. Then for the last pan, we have the shade Float Your Crib, and this one I had also used 4 times in the first month, and I used it an additional 6 times to hit pan on it. And as you can see, it's a baby pan, but it is pan. And yeah, I used this one a lot as an eyeliner and also as like an outer corner shadow, and I really like it that way. But that's also why the dip is quite distinct, because I used it with a packing brush or with a liner brush. But I really like this eyeshadow, and it was quite easy to incorporate even into non-green looks. I used it like with like more neutral tone looks, and it gave a nice contrast. But it took me an additional 6 uses to pan on this one for a total of 10. Then lastly in the palette we have the shade Droid Protocol, which is a deep brown. It's a beautiful deep brown, and again I had already hit my goal on this one last month, and I used it no additional times. I used it only 4 times in this project, but that is where I am with the palette. This is what mine is looking like now, and it looks very, very loved. The only shadow that I don't have pan on now is this one here, which is just like a Tatooine. But yeah, very loved palette, and I'm very excited to see that, because this is one of my favorite palettes in my collection, and I'm happy to see that it reflects it. I'm also happy to see that like all of the pans aren't necessarily super like tiny. I am starting to get a few bigger pans, specifically in Babyface, Little Frog and The Force. Those 3 have a little bit of a bigger pan, which is nice to see. And yeah, I'm very excited to have this rolling out, and that also means that we'll be rolling in my level 5 palette, which is very exciting but also a bit intimidating, because with level 5 I have to use every shade 5 times and hit 5 pans, which can be quite a lot, so hopefully I get a good palette. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull out my Tiny Decisions app. Let me get the right spreadsheet out, project level up. So this is my project level up. I have updated this this wheel. I had a few palettes that I got recently, and I also realized there was like 1 or 2 palettes that I forgot to add in here. But all my palettes are now in this wheel, and the ones that I've had so far are blacked out, so I can't pull them again. You can see them right there. And we're just gonna go ahead and pull with on level 5 and level 4, I would say. I'm going to be a little bit more selective with what I get. If I get a really difficult palette, I'm not going to roll it in. And I am allowed to veto a couple of palettes if I need to, but I'm going to really try not to, because I do want to stick with what I get, because that's kind of at least the name of the game. But let's say if I get like my Pat McGrath palette or like some of my Natasha Denona palettes, especially the big ones, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to work on those. I think that's going to be too big of a commitment. So for example with those, I won't go for those ones. I will skip over those if I get it. But most palettes goes. So let me just go ahead and roll my palette, and I'm a bit nervous. Through my eyes. Okay, that's a good one. I actually have been using this one a little bit recently anyway. I don't know how many palettes or pans I have left to hit in this one. But it's another Colourpop palette, which is, you know, not the easiest, but I am excited about that one. I've been talking about this palette a lot, and it's actually, recently I did my Colourpop declutter. Hopefully you've seen that one, but in there I decided to keep this palette as it is. So it is the original Through My Eyes. But I'm gonna get that and I will be right back. So I am back, and I have my palette right here. So this is the palette, it is a 16 pan palette, so not the easiest. But I am very excited to have this to work on. I do really love this palette. It is again one of my favorite Colourpop palettes. And I do have, I'm trying to show you this. I have quite a few pans in here already. I have pan on Lucidio, I have pan on Wild Soul, in a Wink, which I pan on in my Pan Those Eyeshadows this year, in Euphoric, in Lomo. I also have pan in Misbehave. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pans, which means I have 10 left to pan on, which is absolutely fine. That gives me a lot of options. I do already have quite a big dip in Emerald Dream right here. I think I was working on that one in the project, so that one has quite a big dip in it. I also really love the shade Mesmerize and Flex. Those 2 beautiful eyeshadows that I could work on. Same with Muse. I love those shimmers. I think Sandalwood would be a nice transition shade as well, and maybe Nostalgia. So I do have quite a lot of options in here to hit pan on. I do think I'm definitely going to focus on Emerald Dream, because I would have such a big dip in it, as well as Mesmerize. Those 2 I'm definitely going to focus on. And then with the rest, I'm just going to see how I feel this palette and see what I decide to work on. I do have to use every single shadow in here 5 times, so I think that gives me a lot of room to play around and see what I want to focus on. But I'm very excited about this palette. I was a bit scared to roll something in, and this is not, I don't think this is the easiest palette necessarily, because Colourpop shadows can be quite hard to pan on. It is also a larger palette, so it makes it a bit more difficult because I have to use a lot of shadows 5 times. But I'm still really excited about it. I'm still really happy with this choice. I was worried about getting a really difficult palette, but I think this one is like a medium difficulty, and I'm fine with that. And also, this is a palette that I want to show more love, because I always keep saying this is one of my favorite colorful palettes, but I don't use it that often as a standalone palette. And I do have quite a few pans in here, but that is mainly used from rolling into projects. So I'm excited to work on this as a standalone palette. So that is going to be my product level 5. It might take me 2 months to hit my goals on this one, we'll see, because it is again a bigger palette, and also it is Colourpop, so it takes a bit longer to hit pan. But I'm very excited about it. It's also not as monotone as the Child palette, because although I love this palette, towards the end it was hard to me to focus on these greens, and especially like when I had to hit pan on these 3 here, which is mainly what I was focused on in the past month. A lot of my looks turned this kind of cool tone sagey green, which I love those shadows, but yeah, it was just not kind of what I was feeling during the summer right now, where like it's finally heating up. So I would say it's finally summer here, which is really nice, and those are more kind of wintry shadows for me, or maybe even spring. But I was wanting to reach for more warmer tones, which this one has. Also, this one has more like, it has warm tones but also a few cool tones as well, so it gives me again a lot of variety. It has a few more neutral shadows. It also had a few pops of colors. So yeah, I'm very excited to have this one in, and that will be it for my product level up. Is it update number 5? I think it is. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of this palette. Let me know what you think I should focus on to hit pan on. This is what my palette looks like again today. I'm excited to have this project because a lot of my palettes are getting really loved in this project, and I'm rolling a lot of pans. And I'm rolling a lot of palettes that already have lots of pans in them, but that just means that I have to focus on other things and get even more pans, and also I'll get a chance to expand the pans that are already in here. I mean, I already have quite a big pan in Lucidio here. That one is quite a big pan, as well as in Lomo. Those are like decently big pans, I mean, especially this one here. So I'm gonna be able to expand those quite a bit. And yeah, I'm excited to work on this palette, and I hope you again enjoy this video. If you're doing this project, let me know down below. Even if you're just doing it in your own spare time, or if you're doing it on Instagram or here on YouTube, let me know how you're doing. I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye guys.